Everyone wants to build a swarm of agents. So this episode I actually put that idea to the test. I picked one real problem from our support desk and built exactly one extra agent to handle it. Here's the question driving the whole episode. Does that second agent make our answers better, or does it just cost more for the same result? Stick around because the scoreboard at the end answers that question, and it wasn't the answer I expected. Welcome back to episode 7 and a quick reminder of where we left things. Our support agent version 3 was already passing 88% of its tickets, and it remembered each customer between conversations. But one kind of ticket kept giving it trouble. A customer would say something stopped working, and the real cause was buried in a pile of raw account logs. Digging through that kind of mess felt like a job for a specialist. Someone whose only task is to read the logs and come back with an answer. So that's what I built. A second agent whose only job is to investigate, and I named it the investigator. In the SDK, this kind of helper has an official name, a subagent, one agent calling on another for one narrow job. One thing you can do right now, clone the repo and open the episode 7 branch. The SDK moves fast, so the repo beats my screen every time. Let's start with the first principle, and there's really only one honest reason to add a second agent: context isolation. A second agent runs in its own separate window, completely apart from the main conversation. So all the messy work happens over there, reading through the logs, hunting for whatever caused the failure. Only a short summary crosses back into the main agent's window. That means the main agent writes its reply clean, with no wall of raw logs crowding the window that actually faces the customer. That's the story, and here is the principle underneath it. Whatever you don't want in your context, isolate it in a window the customer never sees. So before you split any job across two agents, ask yourself one question. Does the second agent actually keep noise out of the window that matters? If your only answer is that it feels more powerful, that's not a real reason. That's just a swarm. The second principle is just as important. One agent stays the default, and a second agent has to earn its place. So the investigator only fires on one kind of ticket, the ones where something stopped working and the cause is buried in logs. It never fires on policy questions, billing, quota, privacy, or security, because those tickets have no logs to dig through in the first place. Then I gave it the least power it could possibly have and still do its job. It can read the account, and that's it. No memory of past conversations, no access to our documentation, and no way to hand work off to yet another agent. The main agent still checks memory first, then decides whether to delegate. Memory stays home with the main agent, and only the digging moves out to the investigator. One agent stays the rule until a major test proves otherwise, and that test is the rest of this episode. Now let's build it, and there's really only one new thing in version 4, this whole subagent block. Don't try to read every line, just watch the part that's highlighted. A subagent at its core is just a definition you hand to the SDK, when to use it, and a prompt describing its one job. The highlighted line is the part that actually matters, 4 read-only lookups and nothing else. That short list is the entire safety story for this agent. I made one deliberate choice here too. The model is set to inherit. That means it's the same model as the main agent. So this test measures the effect of splitting the work, not swapping the model. Simple enough, except it didn't fire at first. And here is the trap that cost me a full hour of confusion. Don't read the code yet, because one single line tells the whole story. Every agent I'd built so far set tools to an empty array, and I assumed that meant no limits. It actually means the opposite. An empty array switches off every built-in tool the SDK ships with. So the investigator sat there at startup and simply never fired. The prompt begged the main agent to hand off, but it physically couldn't because the handoff tool itself had been switched off. The fix turned out to be one line: turn that one built-in tool back on. Your account lookups still arrive through a completely separate channel, so those kept working the whole time. Last piece of the build, the routing rule, and I made this one strict on purpose. Don't read the whole block, just the two capitalized words, because they carry the entire rule. On an it stopped working ticket, the main agent must hand off to the investigator. And on that same ticket, the main agent is forbidden from reading the logs itself. Skip either rule and the noise we worked so hard to isolate leaks right back into the window we were protecting. Everything else stays exactly like version 3, handled inline. Now it's time to actually measure whether any of this was worth it. Now comes the mistake beat, and this time the idea I take apart is my own. I ran a clean head-to-head on the 5 it stopped working tickets, the exact tickets the investigator was built for. Both agents ran the same tickets, fresh under the same conditions, as fair a test as I could make it. First, the good news: isolation actually worked exactly like I described it. On the ticket you are watching right now, the main agent went from 6 turns down to 3, check memory, handoff, reply. The pile of logs never touched the main window, so that claim held up. But here is what isolation being real didn't buy us: anything a customer would actually feel. Success came out at 5 out of 5 for version 3 and 5 out of 5 for version 4. A tie, and the cost was not a tie at all. Version 3 spent about 20 cents to handle all 5 tickets. Version 4 spent about 39 cents on the same 5 tickets. That's nearly double 1.9 times the cost for the exact same result. The time per ticket went up too, and you can see the exact numbers on screen. Here's the honest explanation. The log reading work didn't disappear, it just moved into a second model built on top of the handoff itself. So isolation is real, but it isn't worth paying for when one agent already nails these tickets on its own. Now for the full scorecard, the same 25 tickets we rerun every episode, and this time watch 4 numbers land one at a time. First, task success rate 92%, up from 88. Second, unrecoverable errors, still 0. Third, median cost per task, essentially flat, and you can check the exact figures on screen. Fourth, human interventions needed unchanged from last episode, and again the exact rate is right there on screen. Now here is the careful part: read that 92% carefully, because I am not going to hand those extra 4 points to the subagent. The tickets the investigator actually touched passed in both versions, with or without it. The one additional ticket it took on version 4 actually failed. So that whole gain comes from a few unrelated tickets flipping to a pass. And that's the same kind of test set noise we flagged the last 2 episodes. 2 tickets flipped the other way too, and both are worth showing honestly. One was a security ticket, and our stricter human build checker said the wording was wrong. But a smarter, more flexible judge reading that same reply said it was completely fine. That's a flaw in our checker, not the agent, and that ticket never touched the sub-agent. The other is the one place delegation might genuinely be to blame. The reply was strong. It owned the mistake and escalated again, but it phrased the fix slightly differently than we wanted. I can't prove the sub-agent caused that one, but it's the one spot it plausibly could have. So I'm showing it anyway. And the number that actually matters isn't the median, because the median ticket is a policy question that never delegates. The number that matters is the total bill for all 25 tickets, and that went up by about a quarter. Memory held completely steady through all of this, still cheap, still zero fallbacks. So let's recap the whole episode, because the answer to that opening question is finally in. The only honest reason to add a second agent is context isolation. That means keeping the noise out of the window that actually writes the answer. Not fashion, not looking impressive, just that. We scoped the split to one ticket type, gave the second agent minimal power, and made sure it couldn't spawn agents of its own. And we hit one real build trap. An empty tools array doesn't mean no limits, it switches off the very tools you need. Now, the verdict stated plainly. Our one carefully justified subagent tied the single agent on success and cost nearly double to get there. Isolation was real, but it bought us no win a customer would ever notice. So here is the answer to the question I opened with. One agent is the right default until a major test proves otherwise. And this time it did not. That's the discipline this whole series runs on. We shipped the subagent, ran the numbers honestly, and let them say no on camera in public. One thing did jump out at me, though, the total bill. It went up by about a quarter. And across 6 episodes of real spending, we never once looked at that bill. So next episode, we are looking at exactly that, the bill, what this cost to build versus what it costs in production, and the guard that caps every task before it can run away on you. See you there.